Okay, what's up, guys? Speak up on demand. My OBS Studios is up there. I finally got something working today. Actually, I don't know if you can see that OBS Studios thing. That would be awkward, but that's a bit awkward then. Now that I mention it. So, anyways, we're here for a Roblox live stream. As you guys know, we've been doing Roblox on the channel since my second month starting it. Since like a month after I started my channel. So yeah, we are live. Please don't. The title is not clickbait. I swear. It's like it just says Fortnite end of season 4. Forgot to change that. Like last time I tried to live stream, and like I'm not moving in the game right now, but like I tried to live stream. I'm actually not moving because I'm gonna change the title right now, so it's not like so you guys aren't getting clickbait. I don't clickbait my fans. I don't do that. We don't do clickbaiting. So let's just add a title. And let's get rid of that Fortnite season 4. So, roblox TLM live. There we go. Save. And we are going to have that hype in the chat right now. See after it's on demand hype into season 4. Forgot to change that. Like last time I tried to live. Alright, now we can start playing Roblox. Right? Yep. And we're in Roblox Survival and Rescue. It's a pretty cool game that I found out. I was playing it I played it this winter break. I was playing it a lot. It was pretty fun, so I did it on the channel. Yeah, we're on the map, I guess. Yep, here's our first game. You are complete. Destroy the crystals. Let's go. I played this game on mobile, but not on PC, so I'm not familiar. It's been a while since I've actually played Roblox in general on PC. I play so much on my tablet or my phone. I just pop it out and start playing Roblox. So it's like, you know, it's been a while. But I know the basics of the game. I just saw someone get died. Garrett. It's like, yeah, that is not good. Let's get this crystal down. Come on, let's go. We're teaming up. Oh gosh, she's like right there. She's right there. Is she gonna do something? Do something, broski. Got 3 of us over here. Do something. Just stand on her, yeah, just like make sure she doesn't move. We can do this, we can do this. We got like 3 people. Come on, one crystal. Come on, we got 1 crystal left. I mean, we got, alright. It's the second one destroyed. I am like getting so crazy right now. The first time I actually fixed my OBS studio to work, had it for like 6 months, but I haven't been able to work it until like I didn't know how to like focus stuff in certain windows. Yeah, now I have Roblox that can be recorded, so that's pretty cool. I said in the channel update that we did Minecraft Demo Edition, so that's gonna be really fun. And we can do a lot of stuff with that, because it's like, it's arguably, it's one of the main, it's like the main version of Minecraft. It's like, when you think of Minecraft, you think about most of my friends play Xbox One Edition, but they haven't been able to convert. They didn't get like the free code or whatever in like 2016. They gave it a free code to like convert to an Xbox. Gave me that code, so ah, jeez. Yeah, first. Alright, so yeah, that was some. Might as well spectate first. It's basically almost like a controlling person, although like she's not how I'm actually looking. So might as well just do perspective, first person. What I like about playing mobile though is that like you're able to see. With just your hand, but like you have to kind of do that by getting in first person. And like I change my perspective like most of the time, like every 10 seconds. So like it's hard to like do that. It's hard to like adapt to how the game is working. So while this is going over, let's check the pipe. Let's check the stream, guys. Roblox. Yeah, you guys are seeing Roblox right now. Seeing Nolan and her, like, yeah, it's 5 minutes so far. In so it doesn't do anything. I don't want to worry. Yeah, come on, let's get chat now, let's get some views. How about the stream? I guess the regular scroll can actually see it. So yeah, but I feel like everyone's the are gonna win now. And just Crystal up there hopefully. I can't break the game this time. I can't do out that much. It's a bit annoying, like just laughing. I'm pretty sure it's like the OG Wizard of Oz movie or something like that. It's like it's really annoying. I mean, I guess it sounds good if you're playing it like once, like red dress girls lost. All right, let's go. First round, +1 win. Well, not for me because I didn't survive. I got literally attacked. Oh, look, another ad. Destroyed the Snow Queen. Yeah, I'm gonna. Sorry if the audio's not that good. My mic has been so it's hopefully I'll just get a new mic soon. I got Roblox like earlier this like winter, so alright, let's go. Let's get to those crystals. Let me get to this one now. The cornermost area of the room. This is below. Alright. That's the crystal name. That's her. Right? So we're doing a lot more stuff this out of school. We're gonna be relaxing watching those MTV specials. I don't know if that's really true or whatever, but anyways, spring break will be lit. And we got one crystal destroyed. Yeah, get wrecked, whoever the red dress group. They're doing a good job. And there are I think some people there at that other person that might be getting this in a few. Everyone's like running, so there's. So I'm getting this right now. In this. I gotta go somewhere. At the window. Jump. Yo. I suck. I'm just. Still don't got any views. Guys, get into the stream. You guys can join up. You can watch me play. All that stuff. It's really interesting. So I'm just gonna. It's not gonna be like a real 3-hour or 1-hour stream. It's gonna be a quick stream. It took me forever to fix everything. Took forever to fix everything. Yeah, right now we do. Maybe we could do Mad City. I heard that game was like fun. Did you ever? Come on. Rounds over. Let's just go there, man. The funny thing is sometimes, like, I've been playing around with this tab is actually roblox. I don't do any FNAF anymore because like, nope. You have the, actually can't glitch this one. Where you have to have like the window that you're streaming on open. And getting all my FNAF like games on Steam, I can't like open like Google Chrome or something and other things like out loud while I'm streaming. So like that takes, I just said like out loud, but that's pretty hard to do. Anyways, I'm just gonna load up this crystal. We got like alright, we're almost done. Alright, anyways. Alright, and now it shows up like a beacon. It's the one thing that's not really cool about the beacon. I mean, the crystals, they just show like a beacon. So like the red scroll can just come in like any second, any direction, just come at you. Take a swing. Alright, good. That is good. Two more left. The red scroll is actually no, one more left. One more left. She's one! Yeah, let's go! Let's go, team people. We got 5 wins. I gained 1 win out of these 3 rounds. We are looking sharp and we're looking good. Oh shit, it's a YouTube channel. That's oh, really? Okay, I'm a victim. Prison now. Is it E? How do I get in these doors? How do you get into doors? I don't want to like open the chat with this, and I don't want to like seem like an idiot. Like I'm already seem stupid, but like there's no viewers. But I'm just gonna see this. Oh nice, our drift scroll disappeared, so we got 1 win. Game starting. Oh, well, that's what we're doing. I didn't see that. Something around the lobby. Oh, this crystal came. Haunted house, dancing house, right? Let's go, haunted house, proceed. Oh, guys, get on there, haunted house, get on there. Haunted house. We are doing haunted house, nice. We got lucky. Oh, I am the red dress girl. Oh. I kind of didn't want to be the red dress girl on the map I wanted. Alright, now I just gotta find players. Pro tip, there's like these red dots at the bottom of the map where players will turn out to be. So yeah, if you check out those things, then you'll... Doesn't like give up any light once you like going anywhere. Alright, so I can't see like a thing, it's pitch black. Alright, now I'm out and I see some unsuspecting little people. Get murdered. Direct shake. Broski, come here. I get you guys serious. Shh. Alright, so I see these people. I see this person who's literally asking to get it. No, no, no. It just makes it worse. This makes it worse. It's not Crystal's sister. There we go. Now go AFK on me or you guys. Oh no. They destroyed a crystal. Alright, I gotta go. Yep, they got them. I can get a little. She down. Alright, 4 players down, 4 people left. You guys can hear me. I'm gonna turn that down. Oh, I can't even It wasn't laggy, but like it's terrible. It was so hard. It's So if you're wondering about Minecraft Adventures, we will still do that series. Minecraft Adventures is not dead. I just haven't been working on it recently. But no, don't worry, because we're getting Minecraft Adventures out. We're gonna go up to 10 episodes, so we'll get those last 3 episodes out tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Remember those dates, because that will be when those episodes will come out, I promise. We'll try to get them out tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, and we'll have all 10 episodes of Minecraft Adventures. And if you want to see more Super Smash Bros. Content, which seems to be really popular when everyone is doing stuff. So yeah, if you want to see Super Smash Bros. I'm coming down. We still won't got viewers. Oh, that's it. Start doing the stream, getting the stream going. 20 minutes. That looks nice to do. No stream. Though, to be honest, the cool thing about streams though is that like even though the stream may have not like gotten people watching it, you can at least know that like when the stream is no, I've been in this situation too much times. No. Swear. Alright, yeah, we're gonna find like a new game to play or something. So we're gonna get like Alright, we're gonna have to actually. Alright, there we go. Everything should be loaded up right now. Everything should be loaded up right now, right? Still on roblox. Yep. Alright, sorry for the delay. We're gonna be a prisoner. Confirm that. Alright. So we're just gonna try to escape her. Oh, this game lags on. You're in. I'd be really good about playing Minecraft. Kinda happy I wasn't playing Fortnite though. There's the lag I'm talking about right there. Yeah, I'm just not moving. I'm not moving. Lag. Oh, this lag is so hard. Yeah, I can't even get this lag. So, you guys remember Pokemon Red Bronze? Yeah, it was a really good game. Kinda sad that it got demonetized or something. It got removed from Roblox. Okay, so we're actually gonna get out of Roblox for a second. Black and stuff, that it's not gonna be. Don't worry, I'm getting back all of the stuff. So just wait a second. Alright, so let's just kill. Sorry, it's still like laggy, but like it's like a computer and all the files on there. This thing is like really laggy fast. Alright. There you go. The opening screen for the game is like really impressive. Alright, so we should be getting on Roblox, right? Do it. Be on Roblox now. Yep. Yep. We are on. We are back in jailbreak. Sorry for that weird delay. We're on a different server now, so the lag is less. Alright, so what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna pick our gaming card, and then walk out the front door. Sneak up behind them. Ah! Jason girl. Gross. It's not fair. Remember? And the weird part is like, you know how people have like swords and item packs and all that stuff in games. How come I can't just like grab the sword that's literally in the back of my character icon and like just use it? And look at that. There's a sword right there. See the lines, see everything. It's clearly I got a freaking katana in my backpack. Why can't I just use that? It's got my cool gamer headphones and my blue hair. And if you wanted to get these headphones, I don't think they sell in Roblox anymore. They're for like the Jurassic World Creators Challenge that I did. You had to like take a quiz on. They would like review you on something, then you had to take a quiz. It was kind of whack. Like we literally had a test today. Like it was a half day at school because like spring break. It was like why a test today? It's crazy. So anyways, I feel like we do something. Let's eat stuff. Oh wait. I turned down volume more. It said eat stuff. There you go, exploded that wall. I'm out of person scot-free. Not just until I find your cars. And now the bells ring and everyone's in cars. I don't think anyone saw me yet. People are just like shooting. If I can just maneuver, get to that car, jump in, and be a smooth ride all the way home. And just check them in the back of me. Now is the criminal base. Okay, that's fine. That car almost stops. We lit. Got that Lambo, bro. Got that Lambo. fire, fire station, and another car, which is great.